Welcome to Nerdish. I'm Brendan. Brady and Levi are on their way. Yeah, welcome to our SAT cram session. Let us know what questions you have, and we'll just go through it. Most of you know the drill. Oh, hey, Braidward.
Oh, hey guys. Welcome to Nerdish. This is the SAT cram session. Brendan and Levi are on their way. Most of you guys know the drill.
What else did I say? Come on.
Hey, Leeward. There was something else you said.
Yeah, there was.
I know. I forgot.
It's all right.
Is it still going to be the same chat room as...
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it just continues, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Should I zoom in a little bit?
If you need to, I'm fine. But yeah, go for it.
A little bit.
Make sure you click on it. You got to drag the mouse over to this side.
Oh.
Click. You're good. And then do it. Control plus.
Yep. Is it going bigger?
Nope.
Nope.
Go ahead and pull up the...
I got to pull up Twitch.
Yeah, you want me to do it? You want to go up here and I'll...
Hold on. I got it.
You got to hit the... Nope. On the keyboard?
Yes.
Hit the start key or whatever it is on the Windows thing. Now you can go to your...
Okay.
Wrong way.
I did the wrong way.
There you go.
Is that better?
Go ahead and get up here and switch me, because you guys are the ones with the visual problems.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Guys, it's good to see you, but if you're there, ask us some questions. Can you pull up Discord? I don't have my phone on me.
Yeah.
Not on there.
Stop me now.
I can spiel. I know you guys love when I spiel.
Well, hit.
No?
Had some questions, some circle questions, but that's from yesterday.
I think we already did those.
Finished that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why it does that, and it does it late, too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, they changed IRL, guys, so now we're, I guess, under Science and Technology.
Oh.
Otherwise, it's just chatting. I don't think that really... We're not necessarily Science and Technology, but we're not really just chatting.
Yeah, we're definitely not just chatting.
Happy Saturday. Well, for you, KM, for those of us over here...
It's still Friday.
It's still Friday. This is how I'm spending my Friday night.
This is how I'm spending my Friday night.
Yeah, but, like, what would we be doing otherwise?
I
By
don't
we,
know.
I mean Levi.
Mostly Levi. He's the one that has trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to protect him, though. Happy Friday.
Hey, happy Friday, KM. You got any questions?
Happy Leif Erikson Day. Hinga dinga durgan.
Out to get more pieces of large paper.
Went to go get more big paper.
Signed, Patrick.
We got.
I'm gonna grab my phone.
Very good, very good, very good. Okay, so many questions today, guys. There are so many questions that are going to be asked, but they haven't been asked yet. So we feel useless because we don't have any questions. Once you give them to us, we will set each other up and spike the answer
Slam dunk.
into the face of the person who represents not knowing and ignorance, basically.
Wrong sport.
It's the ball of knowledge. Yeah. Facial. That's what they call it in volleyball.
I think it's a kill.
KM, 1892. Why 1892? Is that a year? Do you like that year?
I heard it was a good year.
Depends who you were. There's a woman named Michelle Michelle Oberson, and it was a terrible year for her. No. You're having a ball. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I wish that you'd call and ask questions. Don't stop me now. So many questions. Quadratics, commas, comma splices.
Look who I found.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, baby.
Hey.
It's Brennan. Levi and Brady are going to be here in a second, but right now I forgot the rest of what you said.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever do college stuff? Like college visits? Not really. But I
no,
know what you mean.
KM, we wanted to, and then we had a lot of time off. So, unfortunately, KM, for you, tonight is the SAT cram session, so we can't do college stuff tonight so much. Unless we have a lot of people who show up who all want college stuff instead of SAT stuff, but who knows. Who is that, the dark one?
Trying to get a super score for your SAT tomorrow, so heading out.
But here comes the next part.
Well, if you have any questions, we can answer them. However, it's more important for you to get enough sleep.
Yes. At this point,
So if you're on the
sleep is
East
most
Coast
important.
time,
Stay another hour,
yeah.
maybe, but then go to bed. We never finished that thought, Babex. Heading out, but But
What if they just do this and leave, and like the whole night we're just worried about what they said?
I don't know, but maybe they were speaking through KM, but it's all right. But
Ooh.
dot. Oh, questions?
Yeah, we got a question from CS Gone, maybe. But yes.
You know, Allianz Arena.
Yeah, we did that. No, it should come up somewhere.
I'm not seeing it.
Oh, the one that just got posted in math.
Probably. Hey,
That might be a SAT 2 question. Then.
Ah,
See, there you go.
very good. You know how to use our Discord correctly.
All of you who are in, hey, Baybex, this is for you too. We're still doing the raffle, so go ahead and type in ! ticket or ! enter to enter into that. Baybex, did you subscribe? Because you didn't have the thing by your name and now you do. Did you see that, guys?
Yeah.
It didn't show up.
Is Stream Elements just being dumb? I
Maybe.
know.
Because we should have seen the whole like little
Yeah.
thing. Boom. So yes.
Oh,
Baybex?
it was but subscribe.
Yeah,
That's what it
have
was.
my sub.
Bird.
Brady.
Bird.
Baybex. Just
Wait.
subscribed.
Wait. Have my sub.
So we missed it, but if you look, Baby X's first 2 comments just don't have the purple star.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
no,
just
I see that.
subscribed.
I see that.
Yeah.
But how come I didn't say that they subscribed?
I don't know. I'm gonna mess with that.
Because it's not actually... No. It's not them subscribing that I do it for. It's seeing that message.
Brady.
That's what makes me
Bird,
excited.
You've just broken Baby X's heart because they need to go. Come on.
It'll be half-hearted. Fine. 3/4 hearted.
That's enough.
We need someone on screen. How time is passing.
Well done, Baybex! Well done!
The arms were
I
all
like
the
the
hardware.
arms.
Yes.
Yeah. There we go. That's for you. Did you like that? Would you buy that?
They
I
did.
just did buy
They
it.
did?
I will sell it to you.
Oh, you're gonna do a backflip. Yeah, right.
Well, some of us can do that, but not inside.
We're
Not
standing in the middle of a
indoors.
black cube that is just a void.
Good night.
Yes.
So yeah.
Good luck tomorrow. Use your brain word. Use your brain word. Good. Very good. All right. One of the little geese flew out of the nest. 1,500 super score, please. You
Yes,
got it.
you got it.
You got it.
I'll give it to
Absolutely. On the house. On the house. Ask us questions.
Questions for Twitch. We can do some Luo questions. Oh, did Luo just say goodnight?
Brenda, have we Reddited?
Oh, I'll post on Reddit.
Okay.
I'm gonna do comma stuff.
Sure.
No, you don't want to?
I don't think we should do that the day before. I think we should do that weeks before. Or
Where is Brendan? Is he here? Yes, he is.
Yes, he
He's
is,
right
Encryption.
over there.
Encryption wants to say hi.
Oh hey. How you doing, Encryption?
Good. Look
Yeah.
how charming he is.
Hey, hold up though. Hey. Make sure to enter into that raffle.
Oh yeah.
No, Encryption is.
Have you already
got
won?
that stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, no, I feel like Encryption already wrote all this stuff, didn't he?
Oh. Well, hey.
Encryption,
you.
you better be done with your essay!
At this point.
Exclamation point.
Do they know how to enter the raffle?
Yeah, they just did.
I know, but is there a word?
Oh, it's not raffle. Sorry.
Don't stop me now. Having such a good time. Yeah. Raffle. Raffle.
Raffle.
Raffle. Raffle. Help. Raffle. Enter. Enter.
There you go. Okay, let's actually do some SAT prep.
Yeah. All right, guys. Here we go. Here we go. This is the good stuff right here. Little review of circle ratios.
Oh, we did a bunch of circle ratios yesterday. Let's
You're
not
right.
start with that.
You're right. Let's not even start with that. Sorry. What about just like?
Well, that's all there is.
I don't know. You're right. It's just a circle ratios test. Snakes.
Snakes.
Snakes could pop up on the SAT.
That's very true.
You got to be able to defend yourself from snakes.
Mm-hmm.
What you do, you have to bite them first before they bite you, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah. Also, if you're parcel mouth, that will help enormously.
The discriminant, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. You got a
No,
what?
we don't need discriminant. Oh, not determinant. Discriminant. Yeah, do that.
Of course. Let's say you have a quadratic equation in standard form, which looks like this. Everything's on one side, you set it equal to 0, okay? Now the quadratic formula that solves for x gives you minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac.
That was supposed to be from Brendan.
All over 2a. Okay. Quadratics solve for the x value of this equation, which incidentally, when you graph it, are the x-intercepts. That is why I love Brendan. The x-intercepts are what the quadratic equation finds for you, okay? Those are where the output of the equation is 0, because this is like y is equal to 0 here, okay? So there's a couple different possibilities for numbers of solutions, okay? Number 1, you could have two solutions like this. It crosses the x-axis twice. Number 2, you could cross the x-axis just once. It's not even crossing it. It's just giving it a little kiss, okay? One solution. And then you could have a parabola that doesn't cross it at all. 0 solutions, okay? So there is a part of the quadratic formula that tells you how many solutions there are going to be. And that part is called the discriminant. And that, I want to get a different marker, different color. Can I just circle this real quick? I'll give it back to you. This right here is the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac, okay? Quadratic is a polynomial of order 2, or degree 2. What that means is that there are going to be two solutions. It does not necessarily mean that those solutions are going to be real. Is it possible? Completely impossible. Actually, it's very possible. It's extremely possible. We'll talk about that in a quick sec, but that is a good question. There will be two solutions, but they might not necessarily be real solutions. They could also be imaginary, okay? That's what's going to happen when you don't actually have crossing the x-axis, is your solutions are complex, which means they have an imaginary component, which is why you don't actually see it crossing the x-axis. So that happens because you're taking the square root of a number, and if it's negative, you take the square root of a negative number, that's going to be imaginary, complex. So how many, it's really real, but normally they just ask how many solutions, because it's sort of implied real. The way that this works is if b squared minus 4ac...
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
This is your question.
Is my question?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first thing I want to do here is put it into standard form. It's always what you want to do with a quadratic. So I'm going to move the 5x over by subtracting it. Equal to 0. Okay? So the discriminant has three possibilities. b squared minus 4ac, the discriminant, could be greater than 0, hence positive. It could be equal to 0, and it could be negative or below 0. Okay? Now, Levi, could I have the marker? Big marker. Nice.
That might be the bad one.
It's positive. There's going to be two solutions. If it is 0, there is one solution. And if it is negative, oh, there you go. That's good. There are 0 real solutions. I'm going to do this. Okay. So coming over here, b squared minus 4ac is what we're trying to find. Our b is negative 5. That is the coefficient of x, negative 5. I'm going to take negative 5, I'm going to square it, and I'm going to subtract 4. Our a value is just 1, and our c value is negative 1. So this is going to be positive 25 plus 4, 29. Therefore, the discriminant is positive, so we're going to end up with 2 real solutions. Okay? Let me know if there's any questions on that. That's the discriminant. Okay? Bam, bam, bam. Is it possible to convert standard formula into vertex formula? Yes, it is. It is so possible. And here's how you do it. I should clean up the board first. Do we have rags? We have some rag. Thank you.
What is in your right hand?
Wet's in my right hand. They're both in my left hand. I grabbed them both with the same hand. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I wish you'd call. Encryption. What this is going to involve is called completing the square. Completing the square, okay? If you don't know what that is, I will show it to you. If you do know what it is, I will still show it to you. So no matter what the situation is, I'm going to show it to you. So that's really making everything I just said completely not necessary. I do, but yeah. But I thank you. But I thank you. I do, but. Wait, what? You do, but you what? I do, yes, thank you. I'm not sure what that means. I don't know what, like. I'd like to see it. Yes, of course. Well, you've come to the right place. All right, we will be doing completed the square and nothing but completed the square now for like hours. Okay, so here we go. Standard form of a quadratic looks like this. Okay, that is standard. All right, industry standard, government issue. Then we have vertex form. So it's like this, okay? This is vertex form. It uses the coordinates of the vertex in the form. The coordinates of the vertex are h comma k. You subtract the x coordinate and you add the y coordinate of the vertex. Okay, so let's start with just a standard quadratic. Y is equal to x squared plus 5x plus 6. One thing that you should know is how to find the vertex of standard form, okay? Because that might help you choose the right answer if that's in vertex form already without having to convert. There is an x-coordinate formula that you have to remember. All right, the x-coordinate of the vertex of a parabola has the formula minus b over 2a. You can always use this to find what the x-coordinate of the vertex is going to be. So in this case, we're going to have negative 5 over 2 times 1. Which is negative 5 halves, which is negative 2.5. This is the x-coordinate of the vertex. In order to find the y-coordinate, there's no formula for it. You just plug your x-coordinate in to the equation and find what the y value is. So we would have negative 2.5 squared plus 5 times negative 2.5 plus 6. Do we have your calculator down here, Brendan?
I can go grab it.
I missed that thing. 2.5 times 2.5. Okay, that's 6.25. 5 times 2.5. Minus 12.5 plus 6. Okay, 6.25. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Sauce bag. Welcome. Please deposit some of your sauce. Plus 6. Negative 0.25. So the vertex is negative 2.5 comma negative 0.25. They look like very similar numbers, but the decimal changes everything. Okay. Now that you, I'm going to put this down here.
We'll just set it off over here.
Okay. Now you know the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate of the vertex, you can just put that into standard form. Your a value is the same a value regardless of which form you use. Okay, so our a value here was 1. It's just going to stay 1. But now we know what our h and k are going to be. So we put 1 for a, which is kind of unnecessary because 1 just doesn't do much for us, so I'm going to get rid of it. And we have x minus... Okay, so our x-coordinate of the vertex is negative 2.5, but we subtract the x-coordinate. So we're going to be adding 2.5 squared, and then we're adding our y-coordinate, which is negative, so it's going to be minus 0.25, okay? So this is the kind of rough way to figure out the vertex form. Thank you for following Saucebag. You're welcome. I love following Saucebag. I will follow Saucebag to the ends of the earth. I've always said that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As far as turning this into vertex form using completed the square, we're going to go over here for that. Y is equal to x squared plus 5x plus 6. You want to turn this into a square trinomial, okay? A square trinomial is in the form... I need some new colors here. Levi, pink. On your laptop. Nice, nice, nice. Okay? Just a reminder, a square trinomial comes from either of these formulas. X plus a squared and x minus a squared.
Oops.
When you FOIL, you get x... What? What?
I did something that might have shown up on the screen.
Do you give me a mustache?
No. Much worse.
Oh, God. A goatee?
I'm messing with Stream Elements, and it posted that someone had subscribed for 47 months, which is longer than we've been around.
That is correct. That is way too long. Okay? These right here are the foiled versions of these square factors. When you square them, you get this, okay? If you notice that your trinomial is in that form, you can factor it back into its squared factor form, such as if I have x squared plus 8x plus 16. This is this form right here. Because if we think about what 16 is, if this is our a squared, then our a would have to be 4. And if this is a square trinomial, what's in the middle should be twice that number, which gives us 8. So this follows the form, meaning we can factor it into x plus 4 squared. Okay? So yeah, the general formula here is, let me just give you a real life example. X plus 6 squared, when you FOIL it, you get x squared plus 12x plus 36. So this special number here, it squares to become our c value, and it doubles to become our b value. Okay? That's the relationship there. If you see that relationship, you have a square trinomial, and you can factor it to this squared factor form. Okay? This is not a square trinomial. With completing the square, what you do is you basically force it to become a square trinomial by adding some number that you want to see there. Okay? So let me break this up a little bit. X squared plus 5x plus 6. Okay? 6 is not the number we want there. If we're dealing with 5x in the middle, we want to figure out what number, if we put here, would make us a square trinomial. Okay? Now look at the connection here. If you have 12x in the middle, that means that half of that is that number a, which is 6. So you take half of it, and then you square it, and it becomes that number right there. So if you have the middle number, but you don't know what you're supposed to be adding, that's the pattern. Take this middle number, divide it by 2, which becomes 2.5, and then you square it, and it'll become the number that you want right here, which is plus 6.25. That's the number we want right there. Now, you can't just add something that wasn't there before. And if you do that, what you have to do is subtract it later so that you didn't actually change the overall value of that side of the equation. Okay? But now, take a look at what we have here. This right here is a factorable square trinomial. Okay? And when you factor it, you end up with x plus 2.5 squared. And now let's simplify what's after it. Plus 6 minus 2.5. That just simplifies to minus 0.25. This right here is what we got for our vertex form over here. Okay? So there is the finding the vertex and then just putting it in vertex form. There's that strategy. And then there's completing the square as well. Would you like me to do one more encryption?
He asked a question on the Discord I'm going to answer.
Okay.
Because I think it's my favorite type of question.
Uh-oh.
At least it looks like it.
It might be.
Go up. Can you look at this while he erases?
Encryption XYZ.
Can you erase to get ready for Brendan?
Oh, Brendan loves these questions. Okay, you think you got it. Good. Good. That's a good encryption. Yeah.
I think we should
Okay. Get rid of that. Minus b over 2a. Remember that encryption. Minus b over 2a, x squared into the vertex. Minus b over 2a. Okay. God bless. Thanks. Sauce bag. We do all of it.
Hey, Vic, sweet.
We do all of it.
What's the question?
Do we do math? Other questions besides math? Yeah,
We
we
do
do
everything.
reading. We do grammar. We do, if it's ACT, we do science. This isn't ACT day because there's an SAT tomorrow, so that's pressing. So no science. No science.
Sound like Babbo.
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 All right, encryption had a question on the Discord.
Brendan's favorite kind of question. Ooh, use the
do I
word
use?
symmetry at some point. They love that.
Oh yeah, that's the word we like now. Do you guys have any advice, general tips on reading through the passages effectively? Yes, we do. Let's put that up here. Reading strats. All right. So this question, it's a little bit long. We have 2x plus 3. We have kx squared. Ooh, I have an idea. Anyway, minus px plus 4 equals 10x squared Yeah, I'm going to have to room, I think. No, cubed plus 9x squared minus x plus 12. All right, it's on the screen. Now, what they tell us is the equation that k and p are constants, so they're constant. Boom. We know that this is true for all x. That is very, very important. We're going to get to that in a minute, why that matters. And then they're asking for the find here is 6k minus 4p. Scotta, good to see you. Saucebag, also, if you are not aware where we're getting these questions from, they're sending it to our Discord, which is linked down below.
This is super important. Good thing you're here, Scotta. I was told that all of the schools to which you applied lost your SAT scores, and you're going to have to take it again. So sign up real quick. I think if he sends us $100 a piece, we can get him into the one near his house in the U.S. So
Russia.
probably need to do that. Just letting you know.
Yeah. Okay. Enough kidding around.
Right.
All right. A couple of things I can do here. Some things I'm looking to be able to do here. All right. When I see a question, that was a morbid and disgusting joke. Yes. All right. What I want to do, if I ever see a question that's true for all values of x, what that means is my values on the left and the right of my equation that have the same nth degree of a variable are going to be the same. So everything over here, when I FOIL this, which is going to be a little gross, but I'm going to FOIL this, the constants should be the same. My x value should be the same. My x squared value should be the same, and my x cubed value should be the same on both sides. All right, there's symmetry if we have them say in any way that if this is true for all values of x. To do this, it's going to be gross, but let's go ahead. We have 2k, ooh, this is a nice new marker, x cubed minus 2, I did lowercase and capital, whatever, x squared plus 8x, and then 3k x squared, let's do it plus so I keep track of that, minus 3p x plus 12. All right, and that equals this. I'll drop it all down here. So I have 2k x cubed minus 2p x squared plus 3k x squared plus 8x minus 3p x plus 12. Oof. And that's going to equal, I do not have room, but that's going to be equal to 10x cubed plus 9x squared minus x plus 12. I've written it out like this on purpose, where I have these kind of blocked off, if you will, and plus and plus. The reason I did this, the symmetry I was talking about, all of these have to be set equal to each other. So 2k x cubed equals 10x cubed. If there are any questions on that, let me know. But that's what happens. That's what we're able to do when they tell us that this is true for all values of x. So I'm trying to find 6k minus 4p. I'm going to go ahead and solve for k and p. I know the 12s are the same. I don't care. I can find k doing this. So 2k equals 10. The duck, though, k. Hey. Welcome. 2k equals 10, so k equals 5. I can then plug that in here, or I could use this to solve for p. Doesn't really matter, but we'll do this. 2p plus 3 times 5 equals 9. This is going to be 15, so 2p plus 15 equals 9. We have that 2p now equals negative 6. Man, well, you guys can still see it. Okay, the marker's kind of dying on me. P equals negative 3. Did I do the simple maths on that right, guys? Let me pull this back up. Maybe that's not going to be a negative because that's a negative here. Boom, 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 boom. There it is. Okay. Now I have that k is 5, p is positive 3, and I just want to plug it in here. So 6k minus 4p is going to give me 30. Thank you. Look at that, guys. Teamwork. Oh, so close.
Dang it.
30. Ooh. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's so much better. Minus 12. And that's going to give us 18.
Clean
Right?
Nice.
Boom.
Nice.
And 18, now that my face is out of the way, should be your answer. Are there any questions on this encryption or anyone else who's watching? I can kind of run back through it real quick if you guys want. Yes, so I set these equal to each other, these equal to each other, and so on and so forth, because, yes, when they say that it's true for all values of x, that means every x term to a certain degree has to be equal to the same x term to that degree on the other side. That's a little bit complicated, but what that means is the top and bottom here are two different sides of the equation. If this is true for every single value of x I can throw at you, then 2k has to equal 10. Negative 2p plus 3 has to equal 9. 8 minus 3p has to equal x. And 12 has to equal 12, which is what we're given. So instead of doing it this way to solve for p, I could have done 8 minus 3p equals 1. Equals x is negative 1, sorry. Plug that in, negative 3p equals negative 9. P equals 3, same thing. All right, if there aren't any other questions, you can erase this and move on. Let's double check the Discord real quick.
There are no other questions.
No other questions?
Nope.
All right, well, whoever asks us the next question just really, it's effectively one-on-one tutoring, except you can't talk, you just got to type.
Hey, get out of here. Look at the thing I wrote down.
Okay. Well, hey, you can clean up for me. Thanks.
Oh, I will.
Thanks, Guy.
My name's not Guy, it's Bird.
Thanks, Guy. Oh, not bad.
Wait, did you just do reading strats?
No, we need to.
Okay.
Thank you. That is sauce.
Sauce bag. What's up, dog? Or sauce bag, or whatever. Okay, so reading strategies for the SAT. So sauce bag, I don't know if you already clarified this. If you did, I'm sorry, but do you have an issue with the timing on the SAT? If it's not a timing issue, we don't have to talk about that. What specifically is the problem? Is it specific questions like two-part questions? Is it, or is it just the general thing? Is it a passage type that gives you trouble? What's the problem? What's the problem?
Yeah, I like it. Can we?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very deep breath. Is you good? Yeah. And we did link this when we chose it.
Yeah, I think I linked it. Everything. Very good. Everything. Okay, so I think if you have a problem with everything, the place to start is with the approach to the order in which you do things. Now, I would not recommend you change how you go about the passage. So if you read the passage first and then do the questions, don't change that now. It's the night before. Not a good idea. So do the approach however you have normally been doing it, but when you get to the questions, do the easier questions first. So the SAT, what they like to do is they will ask, the first question after the passage is, what is the main idea of the passage? Or what is the main purpose of the passage? Or something like that. Don't do that question. You're used to doing that in high school because that's what you do. You read a book and then the question on the quiz or whatever is, what is this about? Or something like that. That you don't have time to really build up an understanding of the passage while you read it. And you'll be able to build up that understanding by doing simpler questions first. So do the vocab and context, do the smaller detail-oriented questions, then do the two-part questions. Even though they can be very hard, at least they tell you exactly where to go. Then by doing that, you've built up your understanding, and then you can tackle those harder, more all-inclusive questions like what's the main idea, what's the main purpose. Okay, that doesn't fix everything for you, but at least you're doing things in an order that makes the most logical sense. Does that make sense? I'm going to move on with this because nobody else has asked a question. Ask questions, enter the raffle, yada, yada, yada. Great, so that's good. I think when you're reading, if you have trouble just maybe you're reading too quickly or you're reading too slowly and you're stressed about it, make sure when you read, yes, you want to understand the passage, but you don't have time. Use what you actually know. So you know that the main idea of the social science passage is probably going to be towards the end of the first paragraph or something. They're going to have some sort of intro, and then they're going to have some sort of point that they're making, and then they're going to explain that point. Or they're telling, maybe not exactly a story, but the chronological events of some sort of discovery or event or something like that, right? So you know of these general outlines of passages or articles. So that's what you're dealing with here, and it's not actually different. So actually focus very specifically on building up an understanding not of just the content of the passage, but where that content is. That can help you really visualize what's going on a little bit better. Not that that's super helpful for any one question, but I think it does help with the I need help with everything on the reading section type of thing. It makes it a much more focused process, which is important because I think that the reading section is, one, super dull. I don't think that. I know that, and so do you. It's super dull. It's super tedious. So to make it into a game is the best way to approach it. So you make it into a logic puzzle. Maybe that'll help if you're more math science. Yes, Brendan.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Did you go over your strategy versus mine?
No, I didn't, but it's Friday night.
That's right. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, well, hold on. We don't want to get into that, but there are some things you can do strategy-wise that may help.
I did order of questions.
Make sure how you order the questions. And I would say something that is much less risky than changing anything else is glancing at questions before you go through and read it, just to see if there's anything that has a line number, so that you mark it on the page as you go, so that you are conscious and aware of where that is while you're reading. So you can potentially, if timing's an issue and you get to the end of the test and you have 5 minutes for the last passage, you can do that to answer questions kind of as you go.
Yeah, you could do that, Swishio. Hello. I don't think we've had Swishio before.
It was an or. But
yes. You can do either. I think that you need to just check both. Now-ish. See which one works best. If the science passage is painful for you, well, skim or scan is kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. If you want to do that, the reason that you are skimming is it's to get a general sense of things, right? But that general sense needs to be very focused on where things are in the passage, so that you can build up that mental map of where you can answer certain questions and the structure of the passage, whether it be a story or an argumentative essay or something like that, so you can find things more easily. And then each question will lead you to where you need to do the closer reading. But you need to practice that tonight before the test if you haven't done it before. Otherwise, you might run into something that'll,
mess you up.
Yeah.
I would say specific passages like scientific or history or something like that, whichever one is more difficult for you, save for last, right? That way you aren't stressed and you use your time wisely on the first four. And so the hardest one you save for last, so that you don't waste any time at the beginning, and then you can dedicate all the time you have to answering the last bit. It may not actually change too much, but it'll change your thought process around it.
Yeah.
It can potentially help you not stress out too much.
Yeah, so do that with the historical. Yeah, it sounds like it's the vocabulary and the sentence structure that's tough, because the prose passage can be Old English, the historical passages can be Old English. Those are harder, for sure, to understand. So if you're more math science, leave them for last, as Brendan said, and then also try to make them more of a logic puzzle. We didn't talk about this. Of course, this is probably the most important thing to each individual question approach, which is prove 3 wrong.
Oh yeah.
It's especially on the reading passages that are the prose and the history one. Historical. You need to prove 3 wrong, and that's actually significantly easier than trying to find the right answer, especially when you're a little bit confused. Hone in on individual words in the answers. Like the word always is a very strong word. Now, it might not be contextually that specific to the passage, but saying always is really, really, really aggressive. And so if they say, we went to church, and then the answer says, they always went to church. No, not necessarily. So poking holes in answers is not too hard.
And looking for extremes is an easy way to
extremes. Relevance is probably the biggest one. Relevance is number one with things you can get rid of. Now, this won't get you the right answer right away, but you can generally get rid of 1, maybe 2, if you're lucky, 3.
Did you say anything about name dropping?
No, name dropping is a little bit of a little thing. You want to do it? You want me to do it?
Sure. So lots of times on the test, in the answers, in the, answer options, they will give you something that is related to the question or something that you have read in the passage, but it may not actually answer the question. And they do that because you're going to be in a hurry. You're probably going to be stressing out a little bit. You're going to go through, you're going to read the question and say, oh, I remember reading somewhere in the passage that this happened. I'm going to circle it, I'm going to move on. They do that lots of times just to trip you up. Yeah. Wet dry? Thanks. You want to be wary of that. So just because one of the answer options is something you've read or seen in the passage does not necessarily mean it's correct. You need to make sure it actually answers the prompt given or the question. Too many times I've had students who maybe they're lazy, maybe it's just a time crunch. It can be any number of reasons, really. It doesn't matter. They'll choose the wrong answer because they say, oh, well, I remember reading this somewhere in the passage. Don't do that. Yeah, I think that covers it fairly well. Yeah. Any other questions? Oh, actually, for everybody taking the SAT tomorrow, when you go to the math section, both of them, make sure to do the short answer first and then the multiple choice. Just trust me on this. Okay, why you do that is because if you run out of time, whether you normally do or not doesn't matter. If you run out of time for any reason and you have to guess, your chances of guessing a multiple choice question on the SAT math is 1 in 4. You got a 25% chance of getting it right. However, if you left the short answers for last and you have 2 of them left and you got to guess to get them right, there's no chance, there's technically some chance, but there's effectively no chance of you guessing it correctly. So that's why we say you want to start with the short answer and then move on to the multiple choice, so that if you do have to guess, your odds are exponentially greater.
Yeah.
And even if you don't have a problem with the timing, it's probably just a good habit to get into. Should you skim historical passages? It seems like it is up to you, right? So if you tend to skim anyway, sure. If you don't. I would say for the historical passages, if they're difficult for you, and again, strategies the night before are not a good thing to try to change, but if it's a difficult passage, regardless of whether it's historical or scientific for some, I can't remember who that was earlier, for Swishio, you want to be able to just understand where everything is. You don't necessarily have to understand everything they're saying, but you need a mental roadmap of where things are. So if that means just being able to skim through till you understand what's going on and jump down and continue to do that, great. If it means summarizing each paragraph as you go in your head so you understand what's going on a little bit more, great. If you can just read through, understand it, great, kudos to you. It's just whatever works for you. It can be what we say, it could be nothing we say. There's so many different things that work for so many different students. We can't give you that this is the one thing to do for those difficult passages. That's why changing strategies or giving you strategy ideas the night before is not super helpful, because you got to practice it to see if it works for you or not. Do you think the SAT is the most important component of the college application? Absolutely not. No. No question about it. It is not. Granted, if you're trying to get into a college that is top tier and you get a 1,000, you're probably not going to get in, and that would be why. But if you are within their range, hey, to fly, you need to review with all the SAT math concepts. Well,
there's a lot of them.
Send us
should
some
we say
specific
it all?
questions.
We should say it pretty quick then.
Yeah,
Send us, guys, hold on, because I'm actually going over stuff.
There we go.
Okay.
Set them all.
So, yeah, Peter Griffin saying the alphabet in a quarter of a second. I get it.
I am him.
I lost what I was saying, guys. I apologize there.
Brady's
Really,
fault.
guys? You got to
Brady's fault.
look around now.
I said nothing.
Okay. College application. If you are within their range, right, they're 25 percentile on either side, they're going to read the rest of your application. If you are so far out of their range, that's probably going to be an issue. But that is just something that's going to allow them to say, yes, this is someone we're willing to look at, read through. They may say they read through all the applications, but I assume if you have 1,000 or 1,100 and you're trying to get into Harvard, I don't think they're really going to care. Sorry. The most important thing is actually your GPA is what they say. Colleges say the GPA is the most important. then your ACT and SAT. But those are just to see if you are at the level they want you to be. The most important thing after that, what differentiates you between the other people who have the same capabilities of performing well at any given school, is your college application essay.
I'm going to throw something in there. One
ahead,
of the
tell
most
me
important
more.
things is your choice of class. If you're choosing the hardest classes that your school offers, they want to see that. And then it's the performance in those classes, because that determines if you can handle their academics. If you're working on classes in high school that are college level and you're doing well in them, then they can look at that and say, okay, they can handle the academic rigor at our schools as well.
What should you aim for? It depends on how much you've put into it. It depends on too many factors to say what you should aim for.
You should aim for your best.
Your best.
Yeah, there's. How could you possibly aim for something like and try to get that number? Like
if you don't know
it's
where
your
you're
best.
at normally,
That's
you need to
all
see.
you can do.
You need a level of where you're at. G2Fly in the Discord server. Which Discord server? We have our own where we answer questions for the stream. If you were talking about the general SAT Discord, sorry if we haven't answered those. We've been kind of a little preoccupied with our own Discord channel. Sorry. Okay, that would be the case. So all the questions that have been asked, except for some like this that are specific questions we've been going over, people have been posting in our actual SAT Discord, our nerdish Discord down below. And we have a channel for our Twitch questions.
Suspect. If your GPA isn't in their general range, is that bad? It's not great.
It's not great. It doesn't necessarily disqualify you.
Depends how far lower you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Encryption. You can also type in / Discord. That should work. Our bot should be up and going.
That's good.
But thanks, Encryption.
We don't know the specific requirements of the admissions committees for different schools, so we can't help you with, is a certain, SAT and GPA going to get you somewhere? We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't know.
I would say your best idea is to look at what their ranges are and see if you fall in there.
Yeah.
If you fall in there, then you definitely have a chance.
That information is on the internet. You can
Yeah.
look for, the middle 50 percentile of UC Irvine on the SAT, and you can see where your stacks up.
Mm-hmm. And then if you fall within that range, what's really going to differentiate you is your essay. And some of your extracurriculars and stuff like that. The essay is where they get to actually see you as you and not just numbers.
I understand. Oh, okay. So the middle 50 percentile. Okay, so if UC Irvine, let's say, takes students from, the idea of a percentile. Okay, let's start with that. On the ACT, ACT is from, I guess, 1 to 36. And if you get a 30, let's say that is the 90th percentile. It's going to, I don't know exactly what it is. Somewhere around there. What that means is that your score, what's up?
So it's good to talk about this generally, but I don't know if we need to go into this just because it's not something on the SAT for tomorrow. I think we can answer this without going super
It's
deep.
a statistical thing. Do we have any other questions right now?
Maybe not.
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're the 90th percentile, that means that you're ahead of 90% of scorers. Okay? So it doesn't mean that you got 90% of the questions right. It means if you look at all these scores that students got, you are ahead of 90% of them. Okay? So the 20 to 75th percentile means that if you look at all the scores that got into a certain school, okay? Whatever score is the 50th percentile, there's a score that is the 25th percentile and the 75th. Your score is somewhere in there, okay? So you are a little bit less than half. Well, you're a quarter less than half to a quarter above the halfway mark. Your score falls somewhere in there, okay? If you can apply to a school where your score is above the 75th percentile, then there's a very good chance you're going to get in because your score is higher than most of the kids that go there.
Hey, hold on, Encryption. What's that got to do with anything?
Let's see, that being said,
I'm from a Midwest farm town.
Farm for a living. Hey, do you eat? Then you need farmers, okay? Brendan farmed so hard when he was a kid.
No, I didn't.
He didn't go to
It was
school.
only one summer.
He didn't go to school because he had to farm, okay?
Farm, break,
it's
corn, fed.
tough. Is
Anyway.
niche a reliable place to look up SAT ranges?
I would say go to the specific schools. They should have all that on the school. Did you take the ACTs? I took the ACT.
Took the ACT. Did take the ACTs though.
No.
No.
Not multiples.
No, just one.
I did take it twice. Our school made us take one.
Oh.
And I had taken one before that.
I also am from Illinois, like Brendan, so I took the ACT as well.
Yeah, but you're like from a city or something.
I'm from a suburb of a city, of a state, of a country, of a continent, of a hemisphere, of a globe, of a solar system.
Purdue is the best one I know of in the Midwest. Really? You don't like University of Chicago,
Northwestern, WashU.
Dude, I grew up so close to there, and I had no idea it was a good college.
It's a really, really good school.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, like the college down the
Yeah.
it was like 30, 40 minutes away.
And there's
so
some
I was
great
like, just that college.
U of I, U Michigan, Indiana. There's some great
University
Big
of
Ten schools
Illinois,
there.
Champaign-Urbana is really good for engineering.
Yes, it is.
Like,
it's extremely.
It's
good.
in the top 10,
Yep.
easy.
Yep.
Maybe you need to broaden your horizons.
Broaden your horizons. Broaden them. So 1290. Okay, so yeah, Jitsu Fly, you're in their 50th percentile range. Yeah, what that means is that you're comfortably in the range of kids that make it in. So that's not going to be a disqualifying factor at all. There's a lot of kids that get into that school with a score like 1290. It's not above the halfway point. It's not above. So you're scoring less than, there are 50%. There's more than 50% of kids that are scoring higher than you. But that means that you're somewhere close to the middle. So,
but that means they still take kids who score
less than that.
Lower than that. 25% of the students they take in score less than that 1270 range I think they have there. Unless that is their full range. There we go. In the xy plane, the graph of 3x minus 4y equals 20 intersects at C0.
Okay. If you intersect the x-axis, what that's called is an x-intercept.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the x-intercept. And they gave you a point for here, which is c comma 0. C comma 0. What's the value of c? Okay. Well, if you intercept the x-axis, okay, that means that you know one of your coordinates, which is your y-coordinate. Anywhere that you could intercept the x-axis, your y-coordinate is 0. Okay, and that's what we have in this point. The y-coordinate is 0. If you're on the x-axis, your y-coordinate is 0. If you're on the y-axis, your x-coordinate is 0. If all you need to find is what the x value is when your y value is 0, then you simply plug in your y value of 0 for y, and you solve for what x is. Okay? This right here is your y value. It's 0. Okay? So we just rewrite this equation. 3x minus 4 times 0 is equal to 20. 3x is equal to 20. X is equal to 20 over 3. Which would be 6 2/3. That's your c value right there, okay? They're just giving you the y value, and they're saying in this equation, what would x be if y is 0? That's all they're asking here. They're not asking anything more or anything less. They're asking exactly that. And that is it. But I like your question. We are hungry for questions, okay? You want to know all the SAT math concepts, huh? Well, that is an extensive knowledge of math that hopefully you've been building up since first grade. There's a lot of things we can talk about. Circles and their tedious formula. Okay, encryption. Do you guys have any advice on questions regarding the passage? Not two-part questions. On questions regarding the passage, like what was the passage about? What's the main idea? Things like that. Circles and their formulas. Is that what you mean, Saucebag? Just like, what was the main idea of this passage? We're going to get to that in a sec, G2Fly. Encryption. You have a circle with a radius. First two equations you have to know is their circumference is 2 pi r. The area is pi r squared. Okay? They almost look like the same formula. But the 2 takes a little trip, becomes the exponent here. Okay? If you have trouble remembering which one is which, area is pi r squarea. I repeat, area is pi r squarea. All right?
Anything that works.
Chew on that. Swish it around your mouth a little bit. Area is pi r squarea. Okay? The diameter is twice the radius. Okay? So if the radius is 5, then the diameter is going to be 10. Okay? Make sure you know the dimension you're working with when they tell you about a circle. They give you the diameter or they give you the radius. Usually you want to use the radius for your formulas, okay? Like circumference is technically also pi times diameter. That's where pi comes from. But 2 pi r keeps things in terms of radii. So as far as graphing a circle in the xy coordinate plane, a circle has 2 different characteristics. It's got a center that's located somewhere, and then it's got a radius. All right, the radius is, of course, the distance from the center to all the points on the circle. And your circle equation looks like this. So if your center is h comma k, those are the letters we use for the x and y coordinates of a center, then it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. All right, that is your circle equation. So if your center was -3, 6, and your radius was 7, we would have x, because we're subtracting -3, we add 3, okay? Squared plus y subtracting 6 squared is equal to r squared, which is 49. This number here does not mean the radius, it means the radius squared.
Sorry. Saucebag, can you be more specific? You mean just detail questions where they ask you a general question, you have to be able to find it in the passage? Thanks. Okay, good.
Not those, the ones that ask about specific events that happen in the passage. From this we conclude.
That was either a super quick response or someone had already asked.
I asked that before.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's been a while, so it seems like it was really quick to
Wow. Okay.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
You should have cut me off.
No, I didn't know. Okay, he asked that before, my bad. No, you're good, don't worry. Do you want to get G2 Fly's triangle question? Or geometry question?
Yeah, in the future, G2 Fly, because the chat moves, it's easier if you post those in our Discord, but we can do with this what we can. Let me go over here. Do I only have one? Oh, gosh. Okay, so in triangle...
It's okay, G2 Fly, you didn't know. You had
It's
no way
good.
of knowing.
Yeah, if it's a general question, it's easy to have in the chat. If it's like a problem, a specific problem, it's much easier to have an image of it in the Discord or something we can look at. But let me do this. In triangle ABC, point D is the midpoint of segment AB. Did they give us the actual thing? There was no triangle drawn. Okay, cool. I'll act like it's a triangle. I don't know if it's a right triangle, so we'll assume it isn't. D is the midpoint of AB. C is point D. And point E is the midpoint of segment BC. E. There it is. If DB is 6 and EDE, boom, is 11, what is the length of AC? Okay. Are we assuming this is a right triangle? I think we kind of have to, don't we?
All we know for sure is that these are similar triangles.
Right. So they're going to be proportional. So I guess we can say that 11 is to y is equal to 6 over x plus 6.
Yeah,
Right. We need another
dimension.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it's going to... with this, don't we have to assume it's a right triangle?
Yeah, does it say it's
Did
a
it
right
say
triangle?
right triangle? Is this an SAT specific... Like, is this from an actual SAT test? Or is this from...
It's 22. That's... Let's see. Yeah, it is. Oh!
It
wait,
doesn't
no,
say.
It doesn't say.
Yeah, it is the answer, or it is from an SAT...
What question exactly it is? Triangle ABC. Point D is the midpoint of segment AB. Good. Point D is midpoint. If DB is 6, which you have, and DE is equal to 11, which it is, what is the length of segment AC?
Oh, duh. It's the midpoint.
Oh, of course.
It's the midpoint,
Oh,
Brave.
jeez. Jeez. Well, you know what? When you write a little point like that, you should do a little bit of this action.
You're right. I should have. So you have...
There, you see that? I just deflected it onto him.
No.
I
It's
take
all right.
it.
He put it on to me. 6 to 12 is going to give 11 to y. Y equals 22.
Absolutely. Very good.
Teamwork makes
The poop work.
the dream work. That's
Oh,
gross.
what? Ew.
Like DreamWorks Studios?
No, man, I can't poop without a team. It's a team effort. It is.
Wow. Okay.
Gotta be on the phone with someone. You're confused. You're confused.
Okay.
Similar triangles. Yeah.
Let's... Well, I guess that's fine. So to start, we were given the information that we know... Well, let's erase some of this just from here.
Tell you.
Okay? We have these lengths given. Okay? We're given 6 and 11, and we want to find out AC. We know that D is the midpoint of AB. If DB is 6 and D is at the midpoint, we know that AD is also 6, which means our total length here is going to be 12. Now that only gets us one part of this. Great. Now if I have a triangle and I draw another triangle in here, from the midpoint to the midpoint, what we have is that these lines are parallel. Right? We have the same angles here, here, and this is the same. Because they're similar triangles, we know that their side lengths are all proportional. Because of that, I can set up a proportion, and I'll do it again. I know that this side is 12. I know that this is 11 and this is 6, right? So I know that 6 over 12 is going to be equal to 11 over y. So 6 over 12 is 1 over 2, 1/2. So 11 is 1/2 of y. Y equals 22. Great.
This segment is brought to you by our sponsor, Tight Bond, because Brendan and I have a tight bond.
Wood glue?
Yeah.
That's mine. Put that away.
No, dude. You know there's money in here?
What?
Probably.
A jar of money.
Oh, that's mine.
There's like $50 in there.
Your jar of money, Levi? That sounds,
It's not 50.
Yes, there is.
he counted it.
Oh, that's mine.
On logarithms, yes we do, Toby.
This
Also,
part of our segment is brought to you
Thanks
by
for joining.
our other sponsor, Loose Stool, because Brendan and I have
No!
loose stools.
Why you gotta make it gross?
We have
Okay.
the information on logarithms.
Logarithms,
They didn't-
absolutely.
I don't think they sent us the information on logarithms this time.
Wait, hold on. Did they send us the information? Do they use logs on the SAT though?
Yeah,
Alright.
sometimes.
I thought it was mostly ACT. Anyway, we'll jump into it really quick.
Encryption, Brendword. Brendword, not Brenword. We are not covering SAT Math 2. Okay?
On stream.
We tutor that.
But-
Get in touch with us. We're great at it.
Tell me you
but-
can ask the questions in the Discord, though.
yeah, you can ask questions in the Discord. Okay.
Yeah.
Not now, but just
Logs are on the SAT Math 2.
Yes, they are.
So not on just the regular SAT though.
But Roby Sweetmeat.
I don't think
asked
they are.
that. I never see
Toby.
them. Yeah, I
It's
can
a
look
T.
it up. I'll look it up real quick.
Toby. If there are any other questions, if not, I can give the very, very basic
Do it.
log of base B of A equals C. All right. What that would look like is log base 10 of 100 equals
Interesting.
something.
No logs on the SAT. I didn't know that.
This is going to give you that B to the power of C equals A. So I now have 10 to the power of X equals 100. It's effectively logarithms. They don't go too much into it. There are other rules and tricks that come along with this that you can extrapolate from this, but the very, very basics are right here. All right. Also, while we're at it, guys, enter the raffle for a chance to win a free hour of tutoring with us or a free hour of essay revision. That's you get to choose if you win. But you can enter multiple times. Your first ticket is free. You do, there you go, encryption, exclamation point enter or exclamation point ticket. And you will be entered. Levi, do you want to pull up the, or actually, you can do this real quick while I go and make sure that those are working out.
Why?
I'm going to check stream elements.
Yeah.
Let me make sure
hey,
it's doing it.
stop asking math questions. Let's do some English stuff, huh?
Nah.
Yeah? Some, a little bit of writing section? What do you guys think? You think...
This
Yes.
next segment is brought to you by our other sponsor, Rashes, because Levi,
Levi
and I have rashes.
I don't know how I feel about that. Actually, yes, I do. I do like that a lot.
Wow, big sweet.
Dang, Vix.
Mr. English. I thought your father was Mr. English.
Okay, go over commas, Mr. English. Okay, well, let's start with the commas that need to be in that sentence that you just wrote there, which is an imperative, actually. So let's see.
Just
Yeah, we're going to do...
Wait, I want to put...
yeah, exponential growth decay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, commas? Yeah, we'll do commas. Well, first we need to do independent clauses. Encryption. I think you know what independent clauses are. Does everybody know what an independent clause is? Could you define it for me?
If not, we can't really quit it.
If not, it's fine. We can do it. It's quick. Or I'll just start, and then somebody will come on and say, I don't know what those are, and then I'll explain it later. So let's do commas. I'm going to go. Yes, see yourself, bag. Bird, where's the Hawaiian shirt? Bird, where's the Hawaiian shirt?
What? I don't
No,
know.
this is my shirt, Encryption. Don't you dare.
No, Encryption, that's Brendan's shirt. I am the only one of us who doesn't own my own Hawaiian shirt.
Vic Sweet, this is my 3 Sloth Moon
Brady.
shirt.
Kitong asked about circles, arc length, sectors.
Absolutely. Okay,
Don't we
marker.
yours? Okay.
Yes, we can, Ketong.
Thanks for the follow.
So, yeah, thank you for the follow. Listing, I mean,
There it is.
yeah. Listing is number 1, so that's I go to the store, comma, the zoo, comma, Bird's house. Yeah?
And Bird's house.
And Bird's house. Yes. Right. You're separating elements in a list. That's pretty clear, I think, generally. There can be some little things that might trip you up, but you understand what that is in general.
My 3 friends are Levi, Brendan, and Brady.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Fanboys.
Vic,
Yes, Vix. Very
well,
good,
hold on,
Vix.
it's comma fanboys, but yeah.
Comma fanboys. Sorry.
Comma.
Comma
I
fanboys.
think they knew, but it's...
Yeah, Vix knew.
They better.
Okay, Vix.
Ooh.
No,
they're on top of it.
Not quite.
So
Almost.
ICDC.
Is I walk while I whistle. Can I have another marker that works?
What color?
It doesn't matter.
You only had to catch one.
Yeah.
You only had to choose one.
You know what? It's much harder to catch one thing when there are 3 things flying at you than if there's one thing
You
flying
just
at
gotta
you.
focus on one of them.
Okay, so Vix, ICDC is fine, but you don't have a comma in ICDC. I walk while I whistle. Here's your independent clause. Here's your dependent clause. If you have them in this order, you don't need to put a comma. If you flip the order, so let's take this and we'll put it over there. So we say, while I whistle, I walk. You can tell when you speak, you take that pause. And that pause needs that comma there. Or the pause is there for the same reason that the comma is there, which is to separate your independent clause from your dependent clause. And the reason why we do actually need it in this case, this is icy, is the independent clause is the most important part of the sentence. That's the kernel, the main part of the sentence. If you put anything else there, it needs to be clear that it's not part of it anymore. So if you say, I walk while I whistle, you're fine, because the word while indicates to the reader that we've now moved on from the independent clause. But without this, and we have this now, while I whistle, I walk, you need something in between, so you say, while I whistle, I walk. And now here's the independent clause. We need to separate it. So that's why we have the comma there. So you're close, and that was a long way of saying it's not ICDC, it's DC, comma, IC. Number 4 is non-essentials. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Do we always need commas before and? Okay, so no, not necessarily. So if I say I...
But no, for fanboys.
Oh, for fanboys, yes. You cannot have fanboys, or fanboys don't do the comma fanboys thing just by themselves. So the word and, you can just put wherever you want, sure. But comma fanboys are used to separate independent clauses. So if you're separating 2 independent clauses, yes, you need the comma fanboys. Non-essentials. Who asked for this? Who was this?
Who asked for this?
It was encryption. Okay. Yes, it was you.
It was.
Vix, instead of an ellipses there, you could use a comma. And then which of these 4 would that be? It's just commas are everywhere. It's very exciting. It excites me. I don't know. It probably doesn't excite you, but it excites me. So, encryption, do you want any more little detail-oriented things around commas? Is there anything that you've seen that doesn't make sense to you when you've been studying? Are you taking the test tomorrow, encryption? I feel like we haven't seen encryption in a while, and it's not because encryption's not studying, it's because we are not helping, or we weren't for the last 3 weeks. Ooh,
Yeah.
very exciting. Okay, so, commas, what do we need? Also, Vix, I apologize for picking on you. I just do it, because it's a learning thing. Wow, okay. And now my voice is messed up. I blame Vix. You can't use commas to separate independent clauses by itself. So you can't say, I go to school, comma, Brendan stays home. You can't do that because you have two independent clauses separated by just a comma. It's not enough. You can't use just a comma. You can't use just fanboys to separate two independent clauses. You need to do comma fanboys. Also, Vix, to answer my own question, which you may not have heard, what you just said with, if I don't ace the grammar part tomorrow, comma, I don't know what I would do. It's DCIC. That second part is your independent clause, and the first part has that if, which makes it a dependent clause.
We can analyze the logic of that and find a contrapositive.
But you can say, I go to school, comma, while Brendan stayed home. No. You wouldn't need the comma there. Because that's actually the same thing as this. So if you say, if you want to say, I go to school while Brendan stays home, I go to school is the main independent clause. And then the while is messing with the Brendan stays home. So that while Brendan stays home is the dependent clause. So you have independent, dependent, which is this set right here, which you don't need the comma for that. But if you say while Brendan stays home, I go to school, then you flip it. Good. Glad you see. If you are ever getting confused with commas, you find your independent clause. There might be multiple, but you find your independent clause, make sure it doesn't look like that, but then you have while in front of it, or if, or as, or something like that that makes it dependent on something else being there. Then you have your independent clause. Independent clause is plural, and you can see, well, if I have multiple independent clauses, I have to separate them in one of the ways that's acceptable. If you don't know all 4 ways that are acceptable, there are exactly 4, there are no more, there are no less, then we can go over that as well. Any other questions?
Is this time for ASMR?
I think so. Brendan said he wanted to do some ASMR.
Some what?
What?
Some ASMR?
Some ASMR?
No, guys, it's so great.
Sounds like a Caribbean island.
I walk while I whistle.
You gotta do a sibilant S when you say
Did you
whistle.
answer the while Brendan stayed home thing?
Yes.
Sorry.
Should we talk some exponential growth and decay?
Yeah.
I think we
who had
should.
asked that? Let me go back and see.
Toby Sweetmeat.
Toby, are you still here?
Toby Sweetmeat.
Questions about logic. Yeah.
Put some logic on there. I was about to talk about logic. And where a certain sentence should be placed. Oh, they meant, yeah, logically where a sentence should be placed. Toby Sweetmeat, you're still here. Yes, but are you still here now? No, I'm kidding. You're fine. G2 fly. All right. So here's the general form for exponential growth. And decay for that matter. A times b to the x, okay? So if I give you something like this, 5 times 2 to the x. This means that we're doubling. Every time that x goes up by 1, we are doubling, okay? So when x is equal to 1, it's simply 5 times 2. When x is equal to 2, it's now 5 times 2 times 2, okay? X is equal to 3, it's 5 times 2 cubed, okay? This number here is very important because this number tells you if it's going to be exponential growth or exponential decay, okay? It'll also do with what it is compared to the number 1, okay? If you multiply a number by 1, nothing happens. It stays the same, okay? 5 times 1 gets you right back to 5. But if you go a little bit less than 1, 5 times 0.99, then you're going to get 4.95. It's going to get smaller, okay? You're taking something that's less than 1 of 5. It's 99% of 5. It gets smaller. If you keep multiplying by 99%, it's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller every single time, okay? So this ratio here, if it's less than 1, if it's between 0 and 1, it's exponential decay, okay? 5 times 1/2 to the x is going to be decay. Whereas 5 times, even something a little bit bigger than 1, 5 times 1.3 to the x, that's going to be growth. Now, you don't need to have this first number 5. Your a could just be 1. So you could have an equation that's just y is equal to 3 to the x. Okay, which means your first value, or when x is 0, it's 1, because 3 to the 0th power is 1, and then when x is 1, you have 3, and then 9, and then 27, and goes so on and so forth, multiplies by 3 every single time. Every single time. Is A the initial value? Yes, it is. Yes, it is encryption XYZ. Very, very good point.
Call it the principal value.
The principal value, is that what they call it? Oh, for banking, for what's that called? Interest.
Yep.
Interest is a great example. Interest does pop up on the SAT fairly often for exponential growth. So with percentages, if something is going to be increased, let's say that you have $100 in the bank, and the interest rate is 20%, okay, which is very, very high. I'm drawing the percentage in the wrong place, 20%. If you want to take 20% and figure out what you're going to have after your first year, when you get 20% interest, most students would take 20% of 100 and then add it back to 100. So you'd say, okay, we're going to take 20% of 100, we're going to add it back to 100, and we're going to get that we have 20 plus 100 is equal to 120. Okay. Then if you want to find out what you have the next year, you'd say, let's take 20% of 120 and then add it back to 120. This is 2 steps. There's a way to do this in 1 step, okay? If you go back to this step here, where we took 20% of 100 and added it to 100, if you factor 100 out of both of these, we have 0.2, or 20%, plus 1, which is 100 times 1.2, okay? Multiplying a number by 1.2 increases it by 20%, okay? The overall formula for what percentage you're going to be multiplying by is 1 plus r, okay? If you want to increase something by 5%, so up 5%, you want to multiply a number by 1.05, okay? That would be your ratio, or your B value, what you're multiplying by over and over and over again, okay? If it's less than 1, like if you're taking 90% of something, or, okay, if you're going down by 10%, then you take 1 and you subtract r instead. So we have enough space here, barely right underneath it, 1 minus r, okay? So if you are going down by 10%, that's going to be times 0.90. Over and over and over again. Circle ratios?
Yeah.
Okay. Ask questions, Discord. Yeah, any other questions about exponential growth and decay? Otherwise, we're going to go to circle ratios. Yep. Okay.
You want me to go over this, or you got it?
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. Circle ratios are proportions. Proportions, when you set 2 ratios equal to each other, okay? Has to do with the angle that you know in the middle, or an arc length, or an area of a sector, things like that. And I will show you what all of those things mean in a hot second. Once I erase this thing. Tight bond. Brendan and I have a tight bond. Very tight.
Keep entering for the raffle, guys.
Yeah, raffle, guys. Exclamation point enter, exclamation point ticket. Is that getting the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can do both if you want, but it won't make a difference. Just do one. Or both. Raffling off 1 free hour of perhaps college essay revisions, perhaps tutoring, whichever one is better for you in your current situation. Okay, so circle ratios. Let's get a circle up on the board. Say the circle has a radius of 7, okay? One thing that you should be able to do very quickly is find the circumference and the area of a circle, okay? Like we said before, circumference is 2 pi r, which is going to be 14 pi. Fantastic. Area is going to be pi r square area, which is going to be 49 pi. Okay, fantastic. You guys are doing so well, okay? Here's a question I've got for you.
You're doing great, Bird.
Let's say that this angle right here is a right angle, and you wanted to find the length of this arc right here, this arc length, okay? How would you find it? Well, visually, you can probably see what fraction this is. This is clearly 1/4 of the circle, okay? 90 degrees is 1/4 of 360. This is going to be 1/4 of the overall circumference. That's what this arc length is going to be. So whatever fraction this angle is over 360 will be the same fraction that our arc length is over the entire circumference. All right, if this is 1/4 the circumference, we take the circumference, which is 14 pi, and we simply divide it by 4, okay? 7 pi over 2. However, there is a overall formula that's going to help you in all cases, not just when it's clearly 1/4, okay? And here's what it looks like. General parts of this. Part over whole is equal to part over whole. Okay? I'm going to change this angle to, we're going to make this 95. All right, so it's no longer a nice fraction. You take one of your fractions and you make it the angle part over whole. Okay, the part that we have is 95 degrees, and we are dividing it by the whole number of degrees in a circle, which is 360. All right, this ratio is going to be the same, and let's say we're still trying to find the same thing, which is the arc length, the little cursive L. The arc length over the whole circumference will be the same thing as our angle is over 360. That's what this proportion tells us. So here, this is going to be our arc length side of the proportion. Arc length is L. We're trying to solve for that. Our whole will be our entire circumference. That's the entire arc length. And our whole, we already figured out, was 14 pi. 14 pi is our entire circumference. Okay? Now we just solve this ratio, or sorry, this proportion, by cross multiplying. So 360 times L is going to give us 360L is going to equal 95 times 14 pi. To solve this for L, we divide both sides by 360, both sides by 360. The 360s cancel out. So your arc length is going to be 95 times 14 pi over 360. Can one of you guys do that? I have the calculator right here. Never mind.
Yeah, I did.
I
got it for you.
I
Right?
know, you didn't. 95. I know you did. I just didn't know where you put it. Times 14 pi divided by 360 is 11.6. That's very exciting. 11.61. That's your arc length. Okay? That's part one. You can also use this to find the area of a sector. Okay? The sector is this space right here that's carved out from our angle. All right? The area of this over the area of the entire circle will be the same fraction that our central angle is over our entire circle's angle, which is 360. So it's the same thing. It's part over whole is part over whole. I'm just going to change this side now. We've already found the arc length. Now it's time to find the sector area. Sector area is what we're trying to solve for, so I'm just going to label that as A. Our sector area is A. And we put that over the whole, which in this case is the entire circle area, which we already found was 49 pi. 49 pi. Okay, same situation now. 360A is cross multiplying. 95 times 49 pi. It's calculator time. That's what time it is. 95 times 49 pi divided by 360 is 40.62. Wow, what a great number. 40.62. I did not know a number like that existed. Okay, that's your area. Circle ratios. So you can set angle over 360. There's three different ratios you can remember here. We have angle over 360 is equal to arc length over circumference, also equal to area of sector over area of circle. And you can just pick and choose which fractions you want to use to set up your proportion. All right? Hopefully that made sense. It made sense to me, but that doesn't matter.
All right. Hey, looks like we got a good number of people on. Feel free to keep asking us questions. We're kind of going through a list of them. Thanks, Braid. We have a raffle going on for a free hour of tutoring or a free...
Should I do sentence placement first?
Yeah. I'm just up here to spiel a little bit. Go ahead and enter in the raffle for a chance at a free hour of tutoring with us or essay revision sessions. So do that. if you have questions, ideally you're asking them in the Discord if they're actual questions from a test, so that way you can just kind of send a picture and it's easier to work with. If it's a general question like sentence placement or strategies or something like that, it can just be a quick question us on here. Just if there's numbers and equations, it's hard to copy that all onto here while the chat is going. Thanks, Encryption. But yeah, can you guys go over the rules of exponents? Absolutely. Let's put it below there. And yeah, if you guys like us, give us a follow. Give us a Twitch Prime sub if you have it, or you know, if you don't want to, don't. I'm not your parents. You have. I don't know.
Yeah, don't. I mean, just, you know what? Don't.
I thought you were
right? Don't do
parents.
it.
I mean, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah, I checked it off.
We're going right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
stream will end probably about 10:30. Yeah. I mean,
10 or 10:30. Well, I mean, it depends on how many people are here. If you
guys
still need
have
help.
questions,
But if it's
stuff,
winding down at 10, then we'll probably sign off. Okay.
I'll
Sentence
do it.
placement. Could you find me a question? Ideally, just so that I can have something from which to work rather than just doing some specific. I can give you the general approach, but it works better if I have a problem to use. But if you can't find a problem, that's fine. So these are sentence ordering questions. I think most people, ording, okay, that's one way to do this. Most people, regardless of whether or not they have a problem with these types of questions, take a similar approach, which is they just kind of read the sentence and then they kind of read the paragraph and they kind of figure out what makes sense. And that's fine. That is, of course, what you need to do. But there's a more specific way of going about it that I think can eliminate simple mistakes and make you a little bit more... what's the word I want?
I didn't hear what you said.
When you can respond, you're like very aware of stuff and you're...
Self-aware? You're aware?
Hyper-vigilant, conscientious.
Yeah. Sensitive. That's what I want. You're more sensitive to the little things that put the sentence where it needs to go. So the approach is, number one, read the sentence. So read the given sentence. But you have to do it with something very specific in mind. Look for clues. So it can be the context of the sentence. And then she went to school. Okay, well, by saying, and then we... Oh, you put it in the server. Great. Okay, thank you. We didn't tell you where to put it. Hopefully you did put it in the right place, but it's possible that you didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, great. Good. Yeah. Oh, that's who you are. Okay, I've seen you in Discord before. Okay, step one, you read the given sentence and you look for clues. And the clues are very specific. So if we have the sentence, and then she went to school, well, you have and then. So we know she went to school, right? So that'll tell you she went to school. So what happens next probably has to be at school. So, and then she went to school, she saw Mrs. Mabel, her teacher. Well, that has to happen after, and then she went to school. But what happens before? We have and then. So something else has to happen before that. So it's not only the actual information, but it's the little words in between that can serve as transitions or imply things. Okay? So in this one, let's just do step one with the sentence given. And I'm not going to write the whole thing up here. But, oh, come on. The sentence is, as the excess electrons combine with the holes, the electrons lose energy and emit light. Wow, this one is tough. But let's see. As the electrons combine with the holes. Okay, so we need to know, they say the electrons and the holes. So they're using definite articles. This is actually a pretty, I haven't done this clue in a while. The word the is actually pretty telling. If we say the, it's not the first time that this thing is being introduced. If we say a man goes to the store, well, that's very possibly the first time the man has been introduced in this passage. So it goes before any other time that the man is being discussed. But if we say the man, well, we had to precede that by introducing the man, if that makes sense. So in this, now I haven't read the passage yet, but as the excess electrons, so we have the excess electrons. We need to know why there would be excess electrons before this. And then we have the holes. So the holes also need to be introduced before this. Okay? Then the electrons lose energy and emit light. Now, I'm not sure. I have actually never seen a sentence ordering question on something so scientific. So this one's going to be difficult, but that's fine. So that's the first one. We look for clues. There aren't a ton of clues, but this is the most important step is here. And then, obviously, we go back and read the paragraph or whatever. Read paragraph, section, whatever. And see where it goes. You have to look at every single answer choice. If you don't do that, you might miss something.
Prove 3 wrong.
You have to prove 3 wrong. Or in these, it's, you prove 3 wrong, but something might really stand out as this is the best place for it. But yeah, you want to look at every single answer choice for sure. I am going to stop this from moving around. Okay. Are you with me so far, G2 fly? Gatufly? Whatever it is. Okay, so after sentence 2, 4, 5, 6, whatever. All right, so our sentence is the excess electrons combined with the holes and stuff. Okay. So now we're doing 27. Oh, boy. Yes, thank you. That helps if I have all of this. Okay. So we have LEDs were first developed in the 1950s. So for those of you who don't know, this is in the Discord down below in the questions for Twitch channel. So go down there if you want to follow along. And then we'll move on from this pretty soon. LEDs were first developed in the 1950s by scientists playing around with semiconductors, crystals that have increased electrical conductivity at high temperatures or after impurities have been added to the crystalline structure. LEDs are composed of layers of semiconducting compounds. One layer, called the N layer, is negatively charged, meaning it has excess electrons. Bam. We just got introduced to excess electrons. Our sentence will start after that. So I think A said after sentence 2. So maybe it can't be after sentence 2 because sentence 3 is where excess electrons are introduced. Okay, so that's pretty important. So A, I think A. If that's A, that's wrong. The other layer, the P layer, has positively charged holes. Awesome. So by doing the clues, we have found probably the most obvious thing to pick out by just reading the sentence. So it's about focusing on those things to pick up the small things. You might have picked it up anyway. That's not the point, though. Okay. So holes which are locations that lack electrons. Between the two layers are an additional layer of active material that regulates how electrons flow between the N layer and the P layer. Okay, so now I want to read the sentence again.
I studied this.
As the excess electrons combine with the holes, the electrons lose energy and emit light. So now we need to figure out where does lose energy and emit light fit in with this paragraph.
Oh, choose me.
Yeah, you want. Oh, you like this, don't you?
Well, I mean, I studied this in college.
Okay, so Brandon studied this in college, so he's going to explain it
Doesn't mean
in
I
a
like
way
it
that
tons.
doesn't require you to understand what he understands about electrons and holes.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is some heavy level stuff. This is more the material science stuff, actually, chemistry. Anyway, so starting at sentence 5, between the two layers are an additional layer of active material that regulate how electrons flow between the N layer and the P layer. Okay, so far they've introduced the excess electrons and they've introduced the holes. So it looks like maybe we could put them behind there. However, it also talks about as they combine. So it doesn't really, we haven't gotten to a point where it tells us they combine yet. So we go and we say, okay, 6, after we read sentence 5, I just did. So sentence 6 is when a voltage is applied, this drives the excess electrons of the N layer, the negative, and the holes of the P or positive layer.
Oh,
if I remember right, hopefully
positive.
To the active layer. So when a voltage is applied, this drives the excess electrons and the holes together. Now, the sentence we are trying to place is as they combine, the electrons lose energy and emit light. So, as soon as we talk about them combining, right, when a voltage is driven across them, they go towards one another, they combine, that's when we put it. So it comes after what ends up being sentence 6. Nowhere before that does it work because they don't talk about them being pushed together, or being forced together.
So I missed that when it said as they combine. That's another clue. As they combine, well, perhaps we need to be told that they're going to combine. Maybe it's implied, but it's a good thing to expect to happen first. And that's why you want to look at all of them. Because we got rid of 2 for sure because it didn't have the holes introduced already and the electrons introduced already. But I think everything else did, maybe not number 4.
4 introduces holes. So that's where they're all finally
okay, so then
introduced
we're good
with
there. But that other part, so that's why you look at all of them. Does that make sense, Gatufli? That is,
G2 fly?
I think it's Gatufli.
Sure.
Okay, it's probably Gatufli. I actually can't think of anything else it could be, and now we can use. So,
Got
does
it.
this? Okay, great. So, the approach is super important to these, especially if you're having trouble with this question type.
I dropped the pink. Thanks.
Yes.
All right, Vic Sweet, can you erase this for me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Vic Sweet, we're going on yours. We're going to do 19 because the saline solution one's fun and also can be quite confusing. And then we'll go over your next question for exponent rules because someone has a question about that and your next question is exponents. So, hey, you get a twofer. That means 2 for 1.
Oh.
So how many
No, it's
liters?
pronounced Gatufli.
How many liters? So X liters of a 25% saline solution. Is that showing up well?
Nah.
I got other colors.
This is yours.
Sure.
When you drop.
Thanks. X liters of 25% solution, saline solution, must be added to 3 liters. Haha, it's the same. At 10%, and they're trying to contain or obtain, sorry, a 15% saline solution. So find 15% saline solution. Now, if you just are reading this, if you haven't seen this type of question before, it can be a little confusing. It ends up being, after you kind of know the pattern for it, a less confusing system of equations question. I'm going to switch you real quick. Thank you. Man, I don't like that one right now. What I want to do here is I'm going to say, okay, I need a 15% saline solution. So that's going to be on one side. 15%, so 0.15. All right. Now I know that I'm going to add these two solutions. I'm going to end up with some amount of this 15% solution. So I have X liters, right? Because I don't know. We're asked how many liters of 25. So I'm going to multiply that by 0.25%. I'm going to add that to my 3 liters times my 10%. The trick comes in, not the trick, what is confusing to most students, the part here that, I guess if you understand what I'm about to do, the logical leap has then been made. If not, what you need to understand is that you're giving an amount and a percentage. An amount
Gross.
and a percentage.
Bird's being gross.
Well, over here we only have a percentage.
Stop.
Now, if you think about this, we're going to combine these two into another solution. So the amount I have here is going to be the amount I end up with. It's just going to change the percentage of what I have. Right? The solution percentage of saline is going to change. Meaning I'm multiplying this by the total number of liters I have, because I have 3 liters plus X liters. Right? So let's assume that X was 2 just for this. I have 2 liters at 25% and 3 liters at 10%. I'm going to end up with 5 liters of something. Probably not 15%, but we would end up with 5 liters of something there. So we need to add those here. And at this point, you just solve. The most difficult part of these questions is setting up the equation. Right? I have 0.25x plus 0.3 equals 0.45 plus 0.15x. All right, subtract and subtract. That's x. I forgot the x there, sorry. I subtract this and I get 0.15, and I subtract this and I get 0.1x. So I can multiply these both by 10, and I get x equals 1.5. Or I divide by 0.1, same thing. So I have 1.5 liters of my 25% solution. Vic Sweet. Does that make sense? And then who asked the question about exponent rules? Because we're about to go over that. Ketone. We're about to go over that. Let me know if you're still here. Vic Sweet, dope. All right. Also, if anyone has any other questions regarding what I've done, it doesn't have to be your question to butt in, ask questions, and get your questions answered. Yeah, I know you did, Vic Sweet. I know. I know. We're going over it. Don't worry. It also just happens to work well with what Ketone asked.
Yes.
So if we have A, that's an A, not a 9, so let's make that a little bit different. To the B over 4 power equals 16 for positive integers, A and B, I guess I have a couple of quick questions. If it's just one possible value, I'm assuming it's going to be short answer. Yeah, guys?
One possible value. Oh yeah, short answer. Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Equals 16. A is greater than 0. B is greater than 0. What is one possible value of B? I mean, if I can change both of those?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You can whatever you want as long as it matches.
I don't think this is a good question to talk about exponents.
No, it's not.
Because it can be 4, it can be 8. I mean, it can
Yeah,
be.
it can be so many different things.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be. No, I
Well,
guess
it can't be that
technically,
many. But
depending on
just-
what A is. But okay. Sorry, Vic Sweet. Hey, good to see you injected. This isn't a good one to demonstrate the rules. I'm sorry. Got your hopes up. Keton. So we're going to go over just some basic rules of exponents. All right? See if I can't at least clear half of this off to make some space. Okay. So exponent rules. Ugh. What is an exponent? Hopefully you guys are aware of that, but if I said x to the a, let's do it with actual numbers here. X to the third equals x times x times x. That's what that means. If I say, if I want to multiply two exponents, if I want to multiply x squared by x cubed, I'm going to get x to the 2 plus 3, right? X to the 5th. Now, how I do that, to prove that, I just showed you in the first example here, the first rule, that x cubed is 3 x's together. Well, if I do x squared times x cubed, that's x times x, right? Times x times x times x. 1, 2, 3. And then I have 5 x's, so that is x to the 5th. It follows that if I have x cubed over x squared, I'm going to get x to the 3 minus 2. I'm going to get x, just x to the 1st. Same principle, right? I have x times, I'll do it here. Boom, boom, I'm left with this. All right, we have the power rule. So if I have, that's a good one to do here. Yeah, if I have x squared to the 3rd, that's going to actually give me x to the 6th. Okay? Because I have x squared 3 times. Right? So now I do 2 plus 2 plus 2, which is 6, x to the 6th. Oh yeah. If I have x to the 0 or anything to the 0, that is 1. All right? And if I have x to a negative number, let's say negative 2, it's actually 1 over x squared. Now to make that make sense in your head, or to help with this, I told you what x cubed was. X to the 0, x to the negative 1, x to the negative 2. Let's go ahead and demonstrate this really quickly. This is 3 x's. All right, you're multiplying. 2, 1, none, right? So just 1. What I'm doing is I remove, as I subtract 1 from the exponent, is I'm actually dividing by x as I go, right? Divide by x. And I keep that up. And I continue doing that. As I move here, I also divide by x. So let's continue the pattern and divide by x, and I get 1 over x. If I divide by x again, I get 1 over x squared. And that hopefully can help you rationalize, make sense of why x to a negative exponent is what it is. Brady, I think I covered everything. I went quick, so I'm just...
You talk about fractional exponents?
Yep.
Talk about taking the 0th power?
Yep.
Negative power?
Yep.
Bozo power?
Hey. All right. Katong, hopefully that answered your question. I know we have some other questions on the Discord. Have you guys been looking at those?
Nope. There's a gear one. Oh, there's a. Oh, okay, I can do these. Okay, this is a Vic Sweet one.
All right.
Vic Sweet, number 20, coming up.
Yeah, let me erase this for you.
Very good, thank you.
Yep.
Very good. Points A and B lie on a circle with radius 1. A unit circle.
Radius or the...
Radius. That's me.
Radius.
Radius. Ah, something like that.
Why is it a J thrown in there?
Radius?
Yeah.
It's like Dias, but
Like
just
outrageous?
outrageous.
Yeah, okay.
Radiant. Anyway, okay, the circle is a radius 1, and arc AB has length pi over 3. What fraction of the circumference of the circle is the length of arc AB? Very good. Very good.
Which one is this?
This is number 20. All right, always a good idea to draw yourself a little circle. All the information that you know on this picture. Here's our circle with radius 1. Good, radius 1. Fantastic. Circle looks great. AB line a circle, and arc AB has length pi over 3. I have no idea where they're going to go. I'll just put them here and here. This is A, this is B, and apparently this arc length here is pi over 3. The question is, what fraction of the circumference is that length right there? Okay, well, same situation with circle ratios, okay? Circle ratios. So, easiest thing you can do here, because I guess this really isn't exactly circle ratios, you'd have to draw yourself a little angle here. What is the entire circumference of the circle? We can figure that out. Circumference is not pi r square area, that's area, it's 2 pi r. 2 pi r, okay? We know the radius is 1, so our circumference is going to be 2 pi times 1, or simply 2 pi. That's the overall circumference. The question is, what fraction of the overall circumference is pi over 3? In order to find that, you say you take pi over 3 and you put it over 2 pi. You figure out what fraction over 2 pi pi over 3 is. Okay. Now there's some simplifying we have to do here. Okay. I'm going to redraw this a little bit so you can see something a little different. 1/3 pi over 2 pi. This is the same thing. The pi's are going to cancel. Pi's are gone. What we have here is 1/3 over 2. Okay. Now that looks a little confusing. How do you take 1/3 and divide it by 2? I would recommend you put this into horizontal division, okay? What? So this is the same thing as 1/3 divided by 2, okay? Same thing as that. It's just a different way to write it. A fraction divided by a whole number, it's better to take a fraction divided by a fraction because you know how to do that. Hopefully, you gotta know how to do that. 2 can be made a whole number. I'm sorry, 2 is a whole number. 2 can be made into a fraction by putting it over 1, okay? Every number you want can be made into a fraction by simply putting it over 1. So we have 1/3 divided by 2 over 1. Reminder, to divide fractions, you take the reciprocal of the second fraction, which means you flip it, and then you multiply like normal, okay? So I take the reciprocal of the second fraction, which makes it 1/2, and then I multiply like normal. Normal fraction multiplication is top times the top, bottom times the bottom, 1/6. Pi over 3 is 1/6 of 2 pi. Hopefully that made some sense. And unhopefully it didn't make some sense. It's kind of the opposite, I think. All right, and you got this gear problem. Should I go for it?
Yes.
I'll do it. All right.
Wait, how long is it?
It doesn't make sense. Good. It is, I don't know, it's at like 3 gears. It'll take me 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so let me erase this. Let me erase this. Let me erase this. You're not letting me.
Sorry.
You need to let me.
Yes.
Ready, just erase it.
I mean, if you'd let me, it
I'm
does.
stopping you.
It does make sense. Good. Good. I don't have a dry one up here. I'll just use this one. Very good. Vic Sweet, Vic Sweet, Vic Sweet. Tonight is your night. We're answering so many questions. Brought to us by you, Vic Sweet. Okay. Oh, yes, it's Vic Sweet's night, and the feel is right. Yes, it's Vic Sweet's night.
I'm gonna spiel real quick, Brave.
Yeah, go ahead and spiel while I'm drawing. It's a good
All right.
idea.
Hey, Levi, can you toss me the one in your pocket? Some of this is still a little dirty. All right. Hey guys.
Sorry.
You good?
Just hit you.
For those of you who are joining who haven't watched this before, we actually do this 5 nights a week, Sunday through Thursday. We're doing it tonight because, well, the SAT is tomorrow, as most of you know. Next week we'll be doing we'll be focusing on the ACT, and then we'll probably be taking off for Christmas because we're all going to be traveling. We'll be picking up early in January to start preparing again. But if this is not the last test you're taking, feel free to keep on coming back. Have some questions prepared. We're planning on having a lot more free resources for you guys by the time we get back in January. A couple of things we've been working on. We talked about a little bit yesterday. If you like what we're doing, if you think we're doing great, we'd appreciate if you followed. If you have Twitch Prime, cool. If not, don't worry about it. Also, if you have Twitch Prime, don't necessarily have to worry about it.
Under what situation should they worry?
If they want to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Also, if you're interested, we have our Discord down below, which I think most of you are on right now. We have our YouTube page, Facebook page, Twitter.
Some roast beef, some
Chicken,
chicken,
turkey.
pizza.
I always say turkey. It's pizza.
It's
It is pizza.
Yeah.
All of our links are down below. We do this for free, completely for free. I think we're going to start a Patreon soon. So, if you guys want, I guess you can support us. That would be cool. But again, no need. If you're interested, we've said this a little bit tonight. We do one-on-one tutoring as well. So if you feel like you're not getting enough one-on-one attention here and you want to work on it and get, more specialized help, our information for that is down below. Our website is. We also do subject tests as well. Specific subject tests.
Yes.
I think that's everything. But yeah, thanks, and keep asking questions. That's what makes us able to keep going. Yeah. And more importantly than subscribing, way more important, is just if you think we're helpful, tell other people about us. I know you probably know at least one other person who's taking the test tomorrow or sometime in the future. Let them know so they can get help as well. All right, Brady, take it away.
Nice spiel.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
A gear ratio R to S is the ratio of the number of teeth of two connected gears. The ratio of the number of revolutions per minute of two gear wheels is S to R. So right off the bat, we see this kind of opposite relationship. In the diagram, gear A is turned by a motor. The turning of gear A causes gears B and C to turn as well. If gear A is rotated by the motor at a rate of 100 RPM, then what is the number of revolutions per minute for gear C? So this is X RPM. What is X? Okay, let's go back to this ratio real quick. They defined R to S as the ratio of the teeth of two gears, but then they said that the ratio of their rotational speed, or revolutions per minute, is S to R. So it's the opposite, okay? So if a gear has more teeth, it's going to go less fast, all right? More teeth, less fast. It goes from A to B, and then B rotates C. So let's start with A to B, okay? What is the gear ratio of A to B? Well, it's the number of teeth of A to the number of teeth of B, which is 20 to 60. All right, I'm going to put that down here. So A to B is 20 to 60. Now, this is a ratio which can be simplified just like a fraction. So these are both divisible by 20. So when I divide them both by 20, I get 1 to 3. All right, great. So the gear ratio of the teeth is 1 to 3. The speed ratio is going to be the opposite. It's going to be 3 to 1. Okay, so this is teeth. Speed is going to be 3 to 1. Okay, which means that gear A will be moving 3 times faster than gear B. Moving is not the best word. It's rotating. It's revolving 3 times faster than B. Okay, let me get this other marker. So remember, this right here was A. This right here was B. Okay, so let's figure out what the speed is of B if it's going to be 3 to 1. So A is 100 RPMs. And if we divide that, but we're going to call this Y RPM. Probably should just call it B. Yeah, I'm going to call this B RPM. And I'm going to call this C RPM. It's good to use variables that remind you what they're standing for. 100 RPM, so this is our A. And this is going to be put over B RPM. We're going to set that equal to the speed ratio, which we got as 3 to 1. Okay? Now make sure that you put your fractions in the right organizational strategy. Okay, for here, I put A over B A over B. All right, our A was 3, our B is 1. I made sure to put the B's on the bottom and the A's on the top. Okay, you put a couple different ways like that as well. So to solve a proportion, you cross multiply. 100 times 1 is just 100. That's that equal to 3B. Solve for B, and you get B is equal to 33.3 repeating. That is the RPM of B. Okay, 33.3 repeating RPM. We have one more gear ratio to move to, the relationship between B and C. Same situation. We'll start with their teeth. The teeth, R to S, is going to be 60 to 10, or 6 to 1. This has 6 times as many teeth as this one does, okay? This one is going to move 6 times as fast. If you think about this B, it takes a while to get all the way around. While it's getting all the way around, C is rotating very, very quickly because there's just a couple of teeth on C. So there, there's maybe from here to here, that amount of teeth on B will make C rotate a complete rotation, which is why it's rotating much faster than B is, okay? So this is our B category, this is our C category. The speeds, though, are the opposite, which are 1 to 6. So B is going at 1/6 the rotational speed as C. So now we create one more proportion, and we are done. So we take B's speed, which is 33.3. We divide it by our C RPM, which we don't know, and we set that equal to 1/6, because that is our 1 to 6 B to C ratio. Okay, so C is going to be equal to 6 times 33.3, which is going to give us 200. So the RPMs of C are going to be 200. Okay, now here's something fun that you don't necessarily know. The fact that B has 60 teeth does not matter. We could have done this directly from A to C. Okay, the number of teeth that are intersecting here will be the same as the number of teeth that are intersecting here per unit time. So we could have just done 20 over 10 is 100 over 200, or whatever the ratio would have been. But that's not something that you probably know. So you probably want to just take this one step at a time. I believe that is it for 26. Vic Sweet, how'd we do? When does stream end? I just got back. The stream ends, what are you doing, 10, 10:30?
If we have some consistent questions, we'll keep
We
going.
do not have any questions that are new in the Discord.
Yeah, if we keep getting questions, we'll keep going to maybe 10:30. Right now, we don't have any questions, though. So the clock is ticking.
But
Ooh, hold on.
Hey-oh.
Now that you're all here, keep entering into the raffle. We're going to be drawing for that tonight.
Ha!
I don't have a pocket protector.
Ha! Ha!
I think this one's
No, it's dry. I got
dry.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go, sauce bag.
Such a.
I like it. I like the name Sauce Bag. I really do.
I feel like it's just.
It's funny.
Maybe it is more efficient than having like a container. Rules for sine, cosine, and tangent. Sure, the general. I mean, what they are.
We could do the thing that the SAT likes to do.
Oh yeah. I'm just,
Although I haven't seen it on one of the official tests recently.
But might as well.
yeah. I mean, do you mean SOHCAHTOA there, Toby, or we're gonna go over one of the question types they like to ask, at least on a lot of the practice tests. We can go over some of that, some of the identities.
Any hard formulas? They do not require you to know any formulas. I would recommend that you know
Quadratic.
tangent of x. Wait, sorry. Hard form. Oh, that was somebody else. Now.
Someone
Okay,
else, someone
got
else.
it. Tangent of x equals sine of x over cosine of x. That's pretty important to know. But with trig, there's not much that you have to know aside from what the identity of each of them is. Which you are not ready. Cool. That's important. Then we can do the.
I can show you why
severe
this is
hazard
true
question.
pretty quickly. Well, it kind of, yeah. Hard formulas, not necessarily. You want to be familiar with midpoint, distance, I mean, finding the average, finding the expected value. Maybe you're not super familiar with that. It is, in a sense, just a more difficult. Like, what does the sine of? Oh, you mean the reference angles? Well, I mean, it's to think of it. Sine is your y value at any given point as you trace a line. Right? So at any given point here, if I were to take the sine of this point, the line here, this would be the y value. So if I'm at 90 degrees, boom, up here, I'm at 1, I'm at 0, I'm at 0, I'm at -1. Right? Cosine is 1, -1, 0, 0. Because that's the x value, right? Any line here as you move across. So the x value would be there. This one is very big. It's used a lot. It's also interchangeable. So the cosine of x equals sine of 90 minus x. Those are interchangeable. The easiest way to think about this is if you have a triangle, a right triangle, you know that x and y have to equal 90 degrees. What's a problem on the sine? What is a problem? They will ask you if you have the sine of, they'll say the sine of x equals 4/5. What is the cosine of 90 minus x? And you should be able to say it's 4/5. Now how we do that is a triangle is 180 degrees. If I have a right triangle, this is 90. So if I subtract that, x and y have to be the other 90 degrees. So x plus y equal 90. Then I simply say, well, x equals 90 minus y. And y equals 90 minus x. At that point, if I want to take the sine of y, right, let's say we're doing y. The sine of y.
Do what this is?
Sure, sine of x. Sine of x, I'm going to have, the sine is the SOHCAHTOA. Let's write it up.
Kung Fu, yeah, if you have a good one, post it in our Discord. I don't know if you heard the spiel about that. Go down to the Discord or do !Discord and put it in the questions for Twitch channel. You may have just done that.
So sine of x is going to be the opposite over the hypotenuse. So 4/5. Boom.
Thank you for the follow, Mitchell.
Thank you. From here we have, the next thing is what is the cosine of 90 minus x? Well, 90 minus x is y. And that holds true for any right triangle, right? I want the other angle, right? So now I'm going to take the cosine of this, and the cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So the adjacent is 4, hypotenuse is still 5. So this is 4/5, and the cosine of what is y, right, equals 4/5. That is why this is true. Those are the same. Let me do this so it doesn't look like I am saying they're dividing or something.
Thank you, Toby. Okay, so
yeah.
Hard formulas, I want to not do that quite yet because it's a while. I want to do the choose between two answers. Yeah, so if you've been able to eliminate two answers because they're obviously irrelevant or extreme or something like that. And then, why do I have two now?
Because you took mine.
I thought you had taken mine.
No.
Okay. So choosing between these last two answers. Unfortunately, there's not just a quick fix to say, oh, well, it's the first one or the second one or something like that. The way to do this is, if you've realized, oh, this is a hard question and I'm having trouble between these two answers. Vocab and context doesn't really fall into this because that's just vocabulary if you're not sure of the words. But for the other types of questions, go back to the question itself, reread it one more time, and then try to find the wrong answer. Do not find the right answer, but make sure every single word is demonstrably true. So it needs to have evidence somewhere in the text. If you can't find the evidence for every word of that question, it's wrong. Okay, so if you're assuming that they say always, or the answer choice says always, maybe that's something wrong with it. Even though it's a very small word and it's not super contextually important, the word always means something very, very strong. But there is no quick fix to that. Generally, you're left with two answer choices when it's a harder question type. But keep your approach the same. Make sure you know exactly what the question is asking. Make sure you're answering that question very specifically with the correct answer, and then every word of the correct answer has to be right. So look for wrong words, words that are not evidence-based. Okay, harder formulas. Well, the SAT, which is nice, is they give you the basic stuff. I think there is no hard formula that is not given. They don't require you to know any really hard formulas, but who asked this, by the way? Was this, Severe Hazard, maybe? Yes, Severe Hazard. Are you here still? If you're here, raise your hand. I would say, and also tell me, great. Do you know the equation of the standard form of not standard form, the vertex form of a parabola? Do you know the standard form of a circle? Those, I think, are the two biggies that would help you the most. If you don't know if you know those, then honestly, I'm probably blanking on something important.
I mean, distance, midpoint, those are pretty straightforward. Know the quadratic formula. I said one a minute ago that I can't remember right now.
Do you know those things? Distance formula, equation of a circle, vertex form of a parabola.
Also knowing that you can take negative b over 2a as the x value of the vertex.
That's nice. Yeah, also this is for everybody, so if you don't know any of those things, say, this thing, let's do that, and then we'll do that thing. Yeah, and then we will get to the raffle. If you really want to get to the raffle, we can also just,
Also, yeah, for some of you guys who have just jumped on Severe Hazard, and there was someone else a minute ago, Kung Fu.
Kung Fu.
Yeah, go ahead and enter for the raffle. It's for a chance to win a free hour of one-on-one tutoring with us, online, of course, or test prep revision. Not test prep, wow. I was reading the wrong thing. College application essay revisions. With this guy. Hey, thanks for the follow, Kung Fu.
Thanks for the follow, Kung Fu. Okay. So, I don't really want to go over those things. If Severe Hazard
they seem to understand it. Otherwise, I assume they would probably say not. Right?
Yeah, but there are no super hard formulas on the test that are necessary to be able to answer every question, or any question.
Well, of course, except that one. We usually don't tell students.
Oh, right, because we want them to do poorly, right?
Well, that's only if you pay for it.
Right, they have to pay us thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
To tell them that thing. Otherwise, they're going to fail.
Yeah, well, failure is just relative.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
I have a relative named Failure.
Relative named Failure?
Yeah.
I'm not related to you.
My uncle.
There it is. Your Uncle Failure? That's good.
Do you remember,
no, I think that's about it, though.
Do you remember Santa Claus's uncle?
Yeah.
The one who ran away from home?
Independent Claus.
Yeah.
Stop it. Okay, literature passages are always first. What's your tip on those to move quickly to the next passage?
If you feel like you're spending too much time on it, skip it.
Yeah, they're going to be, if literature passages are the ones you don't like, save them for last. Right? If there's a certain passage type you know is the hardest one for you, or it tends to be, save it for last. Right? Don't get stressed out doing it first, and then say, oh no, now I don't have tons of time because I spent too much time on this, and I got to rush through the rest. Do what you can do well, with being as calm as possible, being relaxed, and then be like, okay, this last one is going to suck, but I crushed the first 4. Right? Also, if you get lucky enough that the passage you hate is a 2-part, like a 2-passage thing, oh, that's great, because then you can just do like half the answers if you're running short on time and stuff like that.
But for the lit passage, if you want to move quickly, it's not so much about moving more quickly, it's more about focusing on the right stuff that will help you answer the questions. So there are a bunch of different question types. There's the vocab and context. It's just vocab and context. You just do those, right? That's fine. But the other ones, they generally, what's a good way to approach a passage? That's a very general question. This is kind of answering that, what I'm about to say. So in the lit passage, this is specifically for the lit passage most. They're going to require you to understand the relationships between characters, what the characters did, and what happened. Basically, what happened and what are the relationships. So when you're reading this passage, those are the main 2 things you want to focus on. Relationships. And I don't want to say events because there's not always necessarily an event, although they are important to pick out. But what happened?
Plot?
Yeah, plot. Plot. Fine. We'll do plot, Bird. That's fine.
Plot word?
Plot word. Yes, Bird. Plot. Those are the two things. Okay? When you are reading, look for those things. Actively look for them, because what we're used to in high school is you read a book and you take months sometimes to read a book and then answer questions on it as you go. You have all the time in the world. Well, not all the time in the world, but you have a lot of time. More time than you have on the SAT. You don't have as much time here. So keep these in your head. As you read, figure out the relationships. As soon as a character is introduced, say, okay, as I read now, I'm going to be paying attention to who this character is and what the relationship is to any characters that have been previously introduced or characters that are introduced afterwards. And then the plot, same thing. What is happening? And that might sound super obvious, like there's not really much else going on in any passage or any lit passage, but actually holding your focus on these things and consciously trying to fill these in your head will help, because you are building up an understanding consciously, which is always better than trying to just sort of soak up information in a time test like this. Does that, I mean, it's not going to fix any problems, but does that make sense as an approach for the lit passage? Severe hazard and Saucebag. This is best not. This is not a science question or science passage approach. Really, you don't care about the relationships as much. It might be important. Science, not so much. Possibly the history one. But you know, it depends. It does. Good. Cool, Saucebag. Saucebag just sounds like such an insult. You know, like.
Wow, how
You're a
would you make their name into an
Saucebag.
insult?
I'm sure that Saucebag is not Saucebag's given name. If it is, I apologize. So a good way would be to answer the summary of passage questions last. Yes, Saucebag, I think you may have been here when I said that earlier. Yes, you do not ever want to answer the big idea questions or the what happened overall questions or the what's the main purpose of the passage from the author's point of view questions first. Not because you can't, and not because you can't get them right, but you're much more likely to get them right if you've done the simpler questions like the vocab and context and the detail questions and the evidence questions and the two-part questions before that to build up your understanding so that you can better tackle the big idea questions. Yeah?
How are we doing?
I don't know. I'm fine.
I
don't know about that.
I'm doing swell.
Sorry.
The approach does is a good way to... Yeah. All right. Well, you guys don't have any more questions, we can go ahead and jump into the raffle. So go ahead and enter for the raffle, guys. You can put a number after you say exclamation point ticket or exclamation point enter to put in that many tickets. It costs 20 points to enter, and you get points by just watching us. So most of you, if you've been here for a while, can probably get a number of tickets. You can do exclamation point points to see how many points you have. It's a little bit spammy, but, you know, whatever. Well, there you go.
Oh, very sad.
15. Ooh, 5 more minutes. No, maybe it's only 2.5. I don't remember what I did.
Let's go
injected. All right.
You got to use those points.
All right, let's get this.
Also,
ready.
as we're kind of doing this, so you've been asking a lot of, you know, here's what's the approach to this type of question and what is this concept in math and that type of thing. But if you have any last nagging doubts or fears or things like that, you can ask those too. Not that we can fix them for you, but maybe we can answer them in some way. Guy, what's up, Guy? How are you?
Ooh, you're number 1. You finally passed me.
Nice.
You
Showing
know,
off.
I will say, Guy. Never mind. I kind of want to set their see how many they have 25-10. I can set their points to 0 just to say that I'm higher and then give it all back, but that'd be petty of me.
And Brennan is not petty. He's anything but.
Well, that's false. But that's empirically false.
That's a little false.
Okay.
There's a very important cue on the Discord.
Oh, I bet it's injected.
No. It's a joke about a Reddit post someone made. Acting as if they were the college board.
Did Jerry at everyone?
I don't think he can. I think he can type it, but I don't think it actually ats everyone.
Yeah, because it's, well...
Yeah. Okay. All right. Everybody, have you make sure you put everything in for the giveaway. We're going to go ahead and draw that.
And remember, if you win the giveaway, last chance now, you can do test prep with us, or you can do college application essays if you're a senior. If you're not. Also, it has to happen in the next
Less than 2 weeks, because then we're all leaving
Yes.
for the holidays, going on trips,
Yeah.
whatever. So, next week and a half, roughly,
Get on it.
All right.
if you win.
We're going to be drawing in about 20 seconds, so
Get
do your
on it.
thing.
Show me, what's up?
Oh, hey. You
Hey,
just saw the
show
Reddit
me.
post.
That's very unfortunate.
At least you know your commas now.
yeah.
Sorry. This is recorded, so if you're West Coast or something and it's not late, you could go back and watch through it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Comma.
Yeah. Hopefully you're taking...
Ooh, what you can do. Hey,
Thank you for the
this.
bit. That was...
Show me what you can do real quick. Is type in !enter to enter in for our raffle that we're about to draw. The first one's free.
Yes, okay. Do what Guy says.
Yeah, do what Saucebag just did.
Bag.
There you go.
Bag 12.
There you go.
Saucebag, why aren't you a doctor yet?
Well, there's a very large amount of tickets bought by one person.
Uh-oh.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, East Coast, you
okay.
should probably be heading to bed pretty soon.
Show me, are you taking the test again after this tomorrow test? Otherwise,
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close this.
Oh, first time, great.
Oh, you got so much
Whoa,
time.
whoa, whoa. This is not only tonight. We do it 5 nights a week, Sunday through Thursday. Although we are taking off for a
It
big
doesn't
chunk of
matter.
December.
Whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you score. Good
All
luck when you
right.
score.
Everybody entered. We're about to draw.
Draw.
Yeah,
Draw.
draw.
Draw. Draw.
Okay, I don't have a marker to draw.
Ew.
got
That's
it.
not what
Dad
we
jokes.
meant.
Got it.
Okay, time to, as they say, draw a winner.
Draw a winner. Draw a winner.
Ready?
Who are we gonna draw?
Vic
Vic Sweet.
52%.
Oh my gosh.
For those of you who are curious, she bought, or he bought, I think Vic, yes? I don't know.
Vic Sweet reminds me of a Vulpix.
bought 31 tickets, and by bought, I think it's, whatever. They've watched tons of our streams, so they've had a lot of points built up. I think but whatever. Vix
Yeah.
had 20 more tickets than the next closest person. So, Vix was really, really pulling for this.
Well done,
So
Vix.
congrats, Vix.
You deserve it.
You do deserve it.
Yeah, you've been working
All right,
so hard.
thanks, guys. Show me. Hopefully you do really well tomorrow, and you don't need to come back and work with us. But if you want to, we'll be doing this till you're way out of high school.
Your
so don't worry
score
about
can
it.
always go up, so even if you do very well tomorrow, unless you get a 1600, you should,
And be
Watch
very
us.
careful. Be very careful.
All right.
Oh,
Because
jeez.
if you score above a 1600, it brings you back down.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah, don't get over.
super
It's
disappointing.
like playing blackjack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to overshoot the 1600, otherwise,
Yeah, you'll
Yeah.
get wrecked.
yeah.
Hey.
Hey, well, there you go, guy.
There you go, guy.
Hey, guy.
Thanks, guy.
It's just funny saying guy. There's a friend of mine in college named Guy. though.
Severe hazard. Get some
Still not
sleep.
used to it.
All right. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Put exactly the right amount of pressure on yourself.
Otherwise, you're going to overshoot the 1600.
Anyway,
Yeah.
best of luck to everyone taking the test tomorrow. Get a lot of sleep, relax, bring snacks, and get up when when you have a break. Get up and walk around so you don't just kind of pass out there.
Yes.
5th
Fifth time's the
Oh.
magic one.
They're all magical.
That's what they say. That's true.
Well,
It's
they
SAT.
You say it.
Yeah.
You were
All
born
right.
saying that.
See you guys.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.